Do I look like a priest to you? No? Be fooled! You are a fool! Because today I am a priest of the people. Today, we are going to be sorting through some confessions. We're going to be browsing on r/confessions today, but we'll start with mine. I have something to confess right now, actually. I had a surprise microphone the whole time! Ah! Here we go, first one up. I just found out that I have a low IQ of 80 points and I'm devastated. That's rough, man. You know, it's weird. It's like remembering that the average IQ of someone is 100 is kind of mind-blowing. 100 is the average, right? Maybe I'm wrong. The average intelligence quotient is between 85 and 115. So this is what the graph looks like for the average IQ score. So 100 is right there. That's where a majority of people reside, right? So this guy is sitting right here at 80. So he's in the little bottom, like 15-ish%. The average IQ around the world is approximately 82. The average IQ in the United States is 97.43. 82 is the average IQ around the world? I'm sure this is, it's a weird thing because the intelligence quotient is measured by like pattern detection and weird things. It's not like, can you start a fire? It's nothing useful. I can't build a shelf. I've got a decent IQ. I can't build a damn shelf. I can't start a fire. I can't cook a steak medium rare with some nice béarnaise sauce on it. Can't do that. I was professionally tested. The results were utterly humiliating. Even one of the people there made a weird face. I still can't believe it. I'm legitimately almost disabled by most metrics. There's so many things I'm just legitimately too dumb to do. I feel crushed. Top comment here says, maybe it's Celsius. Okay, so this person is actually 80 points Celsius, which is like 120 points Fahrenheit. So good for them. Let's ignore their username here for a second. Okay. Your vocabulary and style of writing is not giving IQ of 80. Yeah. I don't even understand. What is 80? What is an 80 IQ? The vast majority of people in the United States have IQs between 80 and 120. To be diagnosed as having this, a person must have an IQ below 70 to 75. That's interesting right there. So 70, 75 is like the threshold. And so this person is teetering on the threshold of needing somebody around at all times. Evaluating psych here. Ranges are reported because test sensitivity, human error, attention, mood, and general variations in human beings confound results. We're nowhere close to accurately finding the extremes of human potential. IQ is only one tool and mostly good for entitlement reasons. Also, your results should have strengths and weaknesses. Any large discrepancies between indices means the IQ is not very representative. Focus on growth and you'll see we're capable of so much more than we can measure. Stay up. That's nice. There's a study I saw on Brainiac, which was like this British TV show a while ago. Anyway, I remember they did an episode where they tested like IQs of individuals who took an IQ test and then took another one later with no supplements. And then there was another guy who took an IQ test and took another one later, but he took fish oils every day for that month. The guy who had more fish oil, more omega-3 fatty acids, ended up being smarter than the person without. Isn't that odd? Fish oils really do make you smart, man. They're food for your brain. Get a little fish for your brain. Eat a little fish, eat a little fishy boy. Eat a little fish, eat a little tuna, eat a little mackerel, eat a little salmon, eat a little carp, eat a little grouper, eat a little tilapia. Eat a little fish for daddy. Eat a little fish for daddy. Eat a little fish for me. I got my 18-year-old pregnant. What does that mean? I don't like the phrasing of this. Why do you say my 18-year-old? That implies that this is like your daughter. I, 27 male, met a girl, 18 female, a few months ago, and we hit it off immediately. She told me she was 22, and everything seemed great. We had a lot in common, and I genuinely felt a strong connection with her. I didn't see any reason to doubt her age because she looked and acted mature for her supposed age. Fast forward to now, and I recently found out she's actually 18, not 22. She admitted the truth to me herself because she felt bad about lying. She told me she was 22 because she thought I wouldn't be interested in her if I knew her real age. She apologized profusely and said she didn't think it was a big deal since she's an adult. To make matters more complicated, she's now pregnant. I'm feeling a lot of things right now: anger, betrayal, confusion, and fear. Fear, yeah, it's a scary thing, you know. Once somebody is pregnant and the decision has been made to keep the child. Yeah, it's a scary place, you know, because in some ways, because the potential for the rest of your life kind of flashes before your eyes, right? You have to set your dreams aside at least for the next 18 years to prioritize the child. I would not have been able to take a bunch of risks and quit my day job and pursue YouTube full time had I gotten somebody pregnant when I was like 24. I feel deceived because she lied about something so fundamental. If I had known her real age, I would have thought twice about getting involved with her in the first place. Now, I'm stuck in this incredibly complicated situation that I wasn't prepared for. When I told her how upset I am, she got really defensive and said that age is just a number and that we love each other, so it shouldn't matter. See, why are you focused on this? I'd be way more focused on the pregnant thing. But it does matter to me. I feel like I was manipulated into a relationship under false pretenses, and now I have to deal with the consequences of her deception. Are you dealing with the consequences of her deception, or are you dealing with the consequences of getting somebody pregnant? Because the only big difference here is that she can't go drinking with you. But now that she's pregnant, it's not like she would have anyway. The title makes it really sound like you got your 18-year-old daughter pregnant. Yes, it does. Yeah, it's a little weird that you called her your 18-year-old. Did you mean to write, like, I got my 18-year-old girlfriend pregnant? I think maybe that's what happened. Very odd. Everybody's talking about the title. Yeah, that's a pickle for sure. Age aside, is everything else what you would want out of a relationship? If so, maybe try to move past it with her. He said it in other comments. He has no desire to be with her. They're both it's completely valid to be angry. I have friends who are now in their 20s who used to lie to men about their age and they regret it now. I've heard of this before, actually. Focus on the baby and our future together. What the are you talking about? You barely know this girl. You need to slow the down. This whole story just makes me feel really kind of gross. I don't know. It just feels bad because, yeah, she lied about her age, but the baby thing is interesting. The fact that he's not, like, really locked in on the pregnancy thing, but more so the age thing tells me that they've already agreed that they're gonna, figure out the baby thing. I don't know. Her deception wasn't exactly what got her pregnant, though, is it? Stop putting all the blame on her. Yes, good. Paternity test, then strap in for 18 or so years of child support. Like everyone else said, the lying is whack, but you did this to yourself. The number one cause of pregnancy is woof. Let's not put that one in there. All right. I once broke up with a guy because of his penis size, and it's not what you think. I was married at age 18 to a guy that was uninterested in sex. I was with him for 4 years, and we had sex 4 times. Whoa! Fascinating. It wasn't good. After I left him, I started dating a few different guys. The second guy I went out with, Ted, for a couple of months. Then we started making out one day, and a ball bat appeared in his pants. I was young and fairly innocent and was totally shocked about how big and hard it was. I backed off and said, "What the?" And he sighed and said, "I know," like he was ashamed of it. I said, "Is that what I think it is?" And he said, "Yeah." Like, seriously, guys, you would not believe this thing. I would swear it was like a ball bat in his pants. I told him there was no way I was going to be able to take that thing, and he said he was never able to find a woman that was able to or that wanted to attempt to take it. Of course, he was like 21 or 22 at the time, and I would assume that he was trying to make it with girls his age. This was the early 90s. I'm quite sure he found plenty of women willing and able to take it over the years, but the size of that thing horrified me, and I'm sure it would have ripped me apart literally. He was disappointed, but said he understood when I told him I couldn't see him anymore. I did want a viable relationship that might lead to sex at some point since my marriage was void of it. On a side note, funny story, this guy always came over hungry and wanted to get pizza on me. Earlier that day, my dad showed up just as we were heading out to pick up the pizza. He suggested that my dad and I run to pick it up and he would stay alone in the apartment. I argued with him about it for a while as I wasn't sure why he wanted to be alone in my apartment, but he insisted, so my dad and I left to pick it up. When we got back, the whole place smelled like bologna or hot dogs, like exactly like processed meat. It was really strong. My dad and I immediately started sniffing around trying to locate the source. Ted, of course, claimed to not be able to smell anything and encouraged us not to worry about it. We ignored him and kept sniffing away very hard in all the rooms. Finally, my sniffer led me to the bathroom, which seemed to have a strong concentration of bologna smell. I saw heavy streaking in the toilet and realized that it must be his that smelled like bologna. I came out and told my dad to quit sniffing, that I had located the source. He came in and we both looked at the toilet, then at each other, and both made disgusting faces of horror, having spent the previous 5 minutes sniffing in his smell. The guy was horrified, of course, but not as horrified as my dad and I were. Between the bologna and the ball bat penis, I decided to call it a day and never see him again. He's out there somewhere dragging that thing along with him. He should have been a porn star. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have a lot to say about this. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I saw this when I was in London, obviously shooting Dinner with the Parents on Amazon Freebie. When I was out there was this special on the BBC, or maybe it was Channel 4. And the special was like living with a large pee-pee. Okay, that was the special, was living with a large ween. And these guys, I mean, not just large, like, you know what I'm talking about? They're out there. They're amongst us, out there, walking in the malls. These people are just out there. They're out there. They could be the person checking out your freaking groceries. And this show was sort of showing like what it was like for them. And there was this one sequence where this guy was on a first date with a woman. He was a focal point because he had a very big ween, and they were on a date together, and she didn't know why the documentary crew was around. She's like, so what is this about? He's like, so actually this reality show is about they're documenting what it's like to have a big wiener, and I have a really, really big wiener. And it's gonna come up eventually. If we're together, you're gonna have to be okay with that. She was like, oh, okay. And I don't think they ever saw each other again. So fellas out there, it really is true that you don't have to be, you ain't gotta be, you ain't gotta be like, you ain't gotta got it like that, okay? In order to make a lady happy. Because sometimes, you just gotta be careful what you wish for. The top comment just says Jesus. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, all right. This one's from a year ago. It's, my husband is divorcing me over Jake Sully, and I don't give a f***. That's right, folks. A fictional character who can't even breathe the air here on Earth. Jake Sully, popular blue alien cat daddy, has burnt my already super marriage completely to the ground, and at this point, I couldn't possibly care less. My husband's been a controlling jerk about things before, but he has really escalated, and this whole situation feels like something that we should be talking about on Dr. Phil. I'll start by saying I love the Avatar movies, which my husband does not like. I don't bother him about them. I have certain friends who are also super interested in the movies, and I'm able to connect with them about it. My husband has a history of being very aggressive when he's angry. Maybe don't do that. But he's never physically attacked me before up until today, when he burst into the room where I was sleeping, screeching, threatening me, and pushing me down and into the wall. Why? Because he looked through my phone and saw that I had read fan fiction smut about my favorite character, Jake Sully. It was Tumblr, so definitely some good content. He erupted in a maniacal rage. My husband truly believes that somehow I have cheated on him with Jake Sully, the Na'vi, who is not a real person. But, well, hold on a second here. Jake Sully is also a human being. Jake Sully is the human character in the wheelchair. Or I guess she's specifically talking about him as an alien, I think, is what she's into. I would add that my husband has viewed porn before, but is truly not into that type of thing, and he thinks I'm a legitimate freak of nature for looking at the things I was reading. I disagree. Shoot, I thought the stories were tasteful and true to the lore. Okay, so we got a nerd here. Nerd alert! Anyways, picture this. You walk outside with your morning coffee to enjoy the paper, you hear faint, unhinged yelling before your neighbor emerges from his house screaming at the top of his lungs that his wife cheated on him with Jake Sully. You threw your family away for a freaking alien. You head inside on that note because you're my 72-year-old neighbor Dolores. God, Dolores, I'm so sorry. My husband has also disconnected our Wi-Fi and canceled our Disney Plus subscription in an attempt to restrict my ability to watch the Avatar movies. I have a history of suicide attempts, and he told me if you off yourself, you can meet Jake Sully. This is a very strange situation. He has told his entire family and everyone we know that I'm sexually obsessed with a fictional character and that I need serious help. Jake Sully, if you're real, this is probably a good time to come scoop me up on Bob. Just throwing that out there. This is really funny. Jake Sully, please! Please, Jake Sully, come down! Come down from Pandora. Well, guys, I was scrolling through my Tumblr when one of the Jake Sully smut pages I followed shared my actual Reddit post. This post. Haha. Ha. What's funny, too, about them is they're the #1 post on our confessions in the whole year. I thought she was talking about the blue thing from Monsters, Inc. for a big part of that post. Yeah, that's funny. If this is true, your husband has an IQ so low, he can't legally provide consent. You're going to have your pick of divorce lawyers. They're going to lose their shit when they hear this one. I'm sorry, I'm confused. Do you mean that they will want to work with me or that they won't? I haven't reached out to anyone, but I will as soon as I can. See, dude, you can have fantasies, man. Have a little fantasy. You know what I'm saying? Have a little fantasy of a blue eyes white dragon. You know, have a little fantasy of this fella right here on the corner of the screen. Hold on, we're gonna go down here to True Off My Chest because this looks really juicy. I handed him divorce papers today over his Reddit account and a bag of chips. Very interesting. This one has 27,000 upvotes, so let's see what that's about. Obviously, it goes without saying, it wasn't just the bag of chips, but hot Cheetos were my breaking point. I couldn't take it anymore. I had already had the terms of separation drawn up 6 months ago when during a heated argument he said, "We don't have kids. You should be thankful it's only me you clean up after." What a weird thing to say to your spouse. That's like you are supposed to be cleaning up after me. It's also you will have a worse time if we ever have kids, it's a weird hierarchical thing. It's like you're treating her like your mom. I kept hearing it in my head. Thankful for cleaning up behind a grown man 10 years older than me. Yeah, that's weird, dude. Yeah. He apologized the next day in detail and told me why what he said was wrong and that he doesn't believe it, but maybe it was just out of my character. But I don't think the things you say in those moments, what moments, are just hurtful words. Little bit of truth in them. I don't know. I mean, it could have been a guy's really bad joke. There are a lot of unfunny people. There are a lot of very unfunny people out there. Maybe he was just very unfunny and he thought he wanted to make a joke to mask his embarrassment that he left, hot Cheetos out. Like, men are dumb. Let me say that. The fact that he apologized in detail and told you why what he said was wrong, that says that maybe it repeated in his head too, unless you explicitly asked for an apology. Sometimes I've said things that have rattled around in my head, and the next morning I'll be like, I'm really sorry I did that. I didn't mean to do that, Sometimes it takes a little distance for you to realize your mistakes. But let's keep reading. And then I found his Reddit account a few days ago. I accidentally saw the username when he showed me a screenshot. I tried, LMAO, not to memorize it, and it took me 2 days to get the courage to look. In between the comments on NSFW Reddits was complaints about me and posts about me too. One post, he'd be ripped to shreds and told he was a piece of crap. Reading those comments made me realize I was nothing but a idiot to think love can fix things. Wait, one post, he'd be ripped to shreds and told he was a piece of crap. So on one of those posts, people in the comments were telling him that he's a piece of crap and that he sucks. I was 20 when I met him and he was 35. I thought people were being dramatic or annoying about our age gap because my single father who raised me didn't have an issue. But then I realized he was just the same type of creep. Your single dad? It was almost like my father pre-groomed me to accept certain behavior to make it easier for other men in my life. This is a pretty significant age gap. 15-year age gap is pretty wild. I wonder how old you are now. Oh, there's more here. Here we go. I'm getting off topic, but I came home early today after a rough day at work and finding out my direct reporting manager had been K-worded by her husband. Then walked in the door to see, actually, that's really f***ed up, this is actually bad. I don't mean to make light of this. Your direct reporting manager has been murdered by her husband. That's scary. That's a scary thing. That happens all the time. As fun as these true crime shows are, this shit happens to people. That's crazy. Then walked in the door to see my lazy, filthy one. I told him what happened to her. I started to cry. He didn't console me. He said, we don't know what made him do that. Let's wish both of them luck and move on with our day. Is he like a very devout Catholic, And he's like wishing her luck in the afterlife? Clearly he is. He's wishing her luck in the afterlife. And the husband, he's thinking like maybe he has a problem. Clearly he does. I'm so confused at that response. I will also say, in general, men, myself in the past included, are not very good at consoling. We're bad at that, as a matter of fact. We're not good at being like, I'm sorry this has happened. Because a lot of guys are like fixers, right? A lot of dudes are like, they just want to fix the thing, and if they can't fix it, they short circuit, and they're like, I'm gonna go build a bench, and then they run away and they build a bench. Do you think Chopin wrote that because it was out of artistry? No, it was because somebody around him was grieving and he didn't know how to cope. So he just played a little ditty. I'm sure his best friend came up to him and was like, dude, my mom died. And he was like, looked around, there was no tools to build a bench with. He was like, yeah, like all great works of art are because men are incapable of doing other simple things emotionally, I tried to convince myself he just didn't pay attention. That soothed me for about an hour until I was in the middle of making dinner and he complained that it was already 6:45 p.m. I told him that he shouldn't be that hungry yet. He just ate half a bag of chips and left them on the table. So instead of A, helping me fish dinner, B, apologizing and waiting silently and patiently, C, finishing the bag of chips, or D, just laughing it off, he threw the bag of chips at me. No! I'm going to say something. Will you allow me to speak freely? Can I speak freely here? Throwing things at someone is a dead zone. For me, personally. If a girl that I'm dating or married to throws an object at me, That's insane. The chips landed all over the floor that I had just mopped and swept. Healthy relationships are built on respect. He clearly doesn't respect you, or he thinks he can like game you or something. That's so messed up, man. So here's the events. She cried. She told him that her boss essentially got murdered by her husband, and because that's her direct reporting manager, she probably knew her personally, so it's kind of like a friend died, you know, somebody that you worked with for a while. It's like, yeah, you get attached to these people and they were murdered, dude. So her friend essentially died. The husband's like, well, I wish them luck. I wish the man and the woman luck. There were good people on both sides, says the man. And then he's like, how about you make dinner now? And she's making dinner, and he's like, I'm hungry. And she goes, there's more chips on the table, on the counter. He grabs them, and he throws them at her. What a strange, dumb man. 7 years together, 4 married. So they met when now she's 27, and he's 42. And he's never done anything that downright rude, because low self-esteem aside, that's something that won't fly with me either way. The chips landed all over the floor that I just mopped and swept. Whatever glare I gave him, it was enough to make him grab the broom in 30 seconds. It wasn't enough to make him at least check that it was all swept up and vacuumed after. I don't know what that means. Does that mean that he also didn't help? So when I finished dinner and brought our plates to the dinner table, I was thinking, wow, I really spoil him. The entire time we've dated, I've always made his plates and brought them right to him. No one has ever done that for me. And I stepped on a chip. It didn't hurt or anything, but I screamed. Not sure why, I just couldn't take it anymore. So I ran to the home office and came back out with the papers and pen, put them in front of his dinner plate, and walked out while he was yelling my name. I'm killing a burger and fries in my car right now. That sounds so good, dude. I'm going to In-N-Out right after this. Oh my God. And realizing I have to start all over. My life is done. My love for him is too. I hope I don't cave. I hope I don't let him convince me. I hope if I start to change my mind, I come back and read this post so that I understand this is not a heated decision. This is something I needed to do if I ever want anything like a real life. Correct. I hope you moved on, dude. Their account is right there. The account is suspended? No, we can't know. We'll never know. Oh, we'll never know. Let's see here. So proud of you for this. Leave and never look back. Moments like this are Phoenix moments. Yes, this pod is over, but a new life and journey has just begun. A new life has just begun. Yes, here it goes. Proud of you. You won't cave. You won't cave. You won't cave. Me too, Op. You deserve so much better, and we'll find it. That's a big deal, though. That's a really big deal. Is that these people in relationships, these people who have low self-esteem and are codependent, become recidivists in toxic relationships. I'll put up the definition of recidivism here. They keep coming back to these bad relationships. You know, it's Stanley Kowalski and Stella in Streetcar Named Desire, right? He gets mad, he hits her, he cries on her doorstep, they make out. What a beautiful play, huh? That play, by the way, that movie is the reason why Tank Top was dubbed wife beater. FYI. Interesting fact for you people. The human brain is wild, man. We just want love. We just want to feel safe and protected, or we want to feel things that are familiar. That's really what it is with these, horrible relationships. We want to feel in familiar territory because at least it's somewhat predictable. The brain likes things that are predictable, slightly routine. Every once in a while it likes a little spicy something here and there, but for the most part, the brain just wants predictable patterns that it can lean back and go, yeah, I got this. I don't have to burn too many calories on this one. I can just focus on getting food and going to sleep. Reminder for future Op, if you cave, he will know he can treat you however he wants and there will be no repercussions. You got this. That is true. As my dad always says, you teach people how to treat you. I've said it before on this channel. You teach people how to treat you. That is so freaking true. Don't accept horrendous behavior because you feel like you deserve it or because you have low self-esteem or whatever. Don't do that, man, because you're teaching you're constantly, whether you realize it or not, you're teaching other people how to treat you. If you're a boss and you show up 30 minutes late to work every day, you're teaching other people that they can show up 30 minutes late all the time. Girl, good for you. I hope you got a milkshake too. The utter disregard for your feelings and time. Absolutely not. I'm sorry about your boss and I'm sorry for your situation, but you are strong and you can do this. I love this. We're going to leave it on this. This is a very nice thing to say to somebody. This is what support looks like. Get that milkshake too, folks. Get your milkshake too, okay? If you're kicking your feet back because you just defeated a dragon that is a toxic relationship, get that milkshake. You understand what I'm saying? And you know what? I hope today, you, viewer, I hope today you find your version of a milkshake, because if I had a milkshake, I would be running to the bathroom. I have lactose. I'm very lactose intolerant. Outro?